prices of goods expected to stabilize early next year. Police extend summons discount offer till 31st December. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10 with me, Azlani. The price of goods is expected to stabilize early next year with more countries opening their economic sectors. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa said movement restrictions were also experienced by countries that export food products to Malaysia, thus resulting in the shortage of the supply in the country. Elaborating further, Datuk Seri Semasa said programs such as sale promotion were organised by the government as an avenue for the people to get goods at cheaper prices, as well as incentives given to targeted groups to cushion the impact of the price increase.
Dan salah satu yang kita laksanakan adalah jualan murah. Saya percaya saya difahamkan 20 hingga 50% diskaun harganya. Ini juga untuk membantu rakyat dan program ini dilaksanakan selama 3 bulan sehingga bulan Mac. Tujuannya untuk mengurangkan tekanan kepada rakyat. InsyaAllah kalau harga dah stabil besok, saya percaya kita akan kembali normal, iaitu harga barangan yang kita beli murah seperti dulu.
He said this included improving infrastructure in rural areas whereby the Rural Development Ministry had been allocated an additional 500 million ringgit to be used, among others, for the purpose. The Premier added that the allocation had been increased to ensure the rural population also get the benefits such as facilities like village roads. On another note, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said cooperatives nationwide could play their role to help overcome the problem of rising prices of goods and reduce the stress and financial burden of the people affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. He said one of the ways would be through the setting up of a wholesale cooperative to supply goods in bulk at cheap prices to all cooperatives, and this would enable the people to get goods at cheaper prices. The Premier said if a special wholesale cooperatives can buy in bulk, it will be cheaper, and if the price is cheaper, more people will buy at cooperatives. He said the proposed setting up of a wholesale cooperative would be discussed in more detail with the relevant quarters, including Entrepreneur and Cooperative Development Minister Tan Sri Noh Omar and the Malaysian Cooperative Commission (SKM). He noted that there are about 1,500 cooperatives nationwide where the public can get basic necessities at cheap prices, and added that the government would continue to implement various programs, including the twice-monthly Malaysian Family Sale in all the 222 parliamentary constituencies nationwide to help ease the financial burden of the people. On the skyrocketing price of chicken, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the government had taken steps to address the problem by importing the supply from China and Thailand. The Prime Minister said the Malaysian Islamic Development Department JAKIM has strict standard operating procedures in granting the halal status for imported chicken and should not be doubted.
Sebelum kita luluskan satu-satu kilang penyembelihan ayam di luar negara, JAKIM akan pergi. JAKIM cek dulu untuk memastikan halal, baru cok halal dikeluarkan. Dan cok halal adalah cok halal daripada JAKIM yang diluluskan oleh JAKIM.
The Premier added that for the halal process, it also involves the aspect of transportation, where the goods cannot be mixed with non-halal goods. Sharing his experience, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said when he was Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister, he had proposed to the government to import meat from one Islamic country, but the plan was scrapped after JAKIM found it did not meet the aspect on cleanliness, although the slaughter process was halal. As such, the Prime Minister called on the public not to worry about the halal status of the imported chicken. The Malaysian cocoa industry has good potential to penetrate the international market due to its high quality. Minister of Plantation Industries and Commodities, Datuk Zuraida Kamaruddin, said the ministry was serious about developing the cocoa industry as the country's fourth largest commodity after oil palm, rubber and timber. Datuk Zuraida said the ministry will help smallholders to increase their crops and productivity by recommending that they plant cocoa trees from good breeds. She also said that the cocoa industry should also be made a trademark of the country, not only for smallholders at the downstream level, but also to be an attraction for tourists. According to Datuk Zuraida, the Malaysian Cocoa Board strives to help local chocolate entrepreneurs to promote their products to be known throughout the country, thus being able to compete with international chocolate products. She also said the ministry wants the people to know that local chocolate brands such as Magnificent, Marvelous and Royal are products produced in Malaysia, and a product such as Barrel's chocolate has become the country's #1 chocolate exporter. The minister added that this proves that the country is very progressive and unwavering and able to compete with top brands abroad because its chocolate is of high quality and affordable. The Royal Malaysian Police, PDRM, has extended its summons a discount offer until 31st December. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Akresani Abdullah Sani said this was due to the very encouraging response from the public to settle their outstanding summonses. Elaborating further, Tan Sri Akresani said traffic counters at all district and state police headquarters were also open to the public for the purpose. He said the extension of the offer was to give more time to the people so as to avoid crowds gathering at the counters to make their payments. He also said the police had received reports that the summons payment application could also not be accessed due to the high online traffic. Therefore, the IGP said he will instruct the Bukit Aman Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department Director, Dato' Mat Kasih Karim, to consider increasing the number of counters nationwide. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Akresani revealed that almost 2.3 million traffic summonses had been settled nationwide as of noon yesterday, with a total collection of 109 million ringgit. Coming up, a special cabinet committee for Indian community development to be established. The targeted 92% for 4G coverage in Sarawak come the third quarter of next year is realistic and achievable. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said this was not empty talk to fish for votes in the 12th Sarawak state election and pointed out that efforts to improve communications infrastructure in the state had begun way before the election dates were announced. The target, Tan Sri Anwar added, had been set based on the progress of the project's implementation carried out previously.
Sarawak, kalau diperhatikan pembangunan di Sarawak, termasuk oleh Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak, tidak berorientasikan pilihan raya. Ya, saya dah 4 portfolio dalam kabinet. Saya dah lama memerhatikan cara perjalanan pentadbiran Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak. Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak mempunyai perancangan yang cukup sistematik. Ada pilihan raya, tak ada pilihan raya. Negeri Sarawak ini being blessed by good leadership.
The minister added that he is confident Sarawakians themselves are appreciative of what the Gabungan Party Sarawak-led state government has done for them and that they will not be swayed easily by the national level sentiments. Gedong is now officially a district in Sarawak, a recognition that will improve the way of life of the community and subsequently turn it into a satellite city for the Samarahan area. Sarawak Chief Minister Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said as a new district, Gedong will have a more organised and detailed infrastructure and administrative structure. Tan Sri Abang Johari said the government will plan for Gedong as a satellite township, and the village areas as well as the longhouses will enjoy the benefits of modern agriculture. He said Gedong will have a development approach under the Integrated Regional Samarahan Development Agency, IRSDA, an agency that plans and further develops districts in the Samarahan area, including Gedong. Apart from Gedong, Tan Sri Abang Johari also officiated 4 other new districts: Sebuya, also in Samarahan, Siburan in Serian, Lingga and Pantu in Sri Aman, as well as the sub-district of Balai Ringin in Serian. According to him, Gedong will be a biodiversity-based research centre due to the presence of higher education institutions in the Samarahan area. He said its rural parts will be transformed into modern areas showcasing the beauty of Sarawak culture. The Chief Minister added that the government is focusing on rural development through the construction of roads, including coastal roads, and economic sectors such as agriculture and tourism in the Gedong, Simunjan and the surrounding areas. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has announced that a special cabinet committee on the development of the Indian community would be set up. He said that through the National Unity Ministry, an Indian Community Action Plan, a PTMI, would be launched soon, setting out various short and long-term targets which should be achieved together with lead and implementing agencies.
Saya jamin akan memastikan bahawa taraf hidup masyarakat India akan terus diperbaiki. Berpandukan PTMI dan penambahbaikan akan dilakukan dari masa ke semasa sejajar dengan RMK ke-12 dan bajet 2022.
The Premier also said that this year the government had provided cash assistance totaling 8.4 million ringgit to the B40 group and a 1 million ringgit Prihatin Special Grant GKP to micro, small and medium enterprises. He also said that specifically for the Indian community next year, a 100 million ringgit allocation will be given to the Malaysian Indian Transformation Unit, MITRA, for among others implementing an education financial aid program for the Indian B40 community, entrepreneurship capacity development program and welfare assistance. Apart from this, 25 million ringgit has also been channeled through Tekun Nasional for the Indian micro entrepreneurs financing scheme, which provides easy loans of up to 100,000 ringgit at an interest rate as low as 4% per annum. Finals. Chelsea got their Premier League title challenge back on track with a dramatic 3-2 home win over Leeds United on Saturday, settled by an injury time penalty converted by Jorginho, who had earlier scored another spot kick. The win kept the Londoners in third place with 36 points, 2 behind leaders Manchester City, who edged Wolverhampton Wanderers 1-0 and 1 behind Liverpool after they beat Aston Villa 1-0. Leeds were weakened by a string of injuries, but the visitors went ahead in the 28th minute when Daniel James was felled in the box by Marcos Alonso and Brazilian playmaker Rafinha struck home the penalty. But the hosts clawed their way back into the game when Alonso exchanged passes with Timo Werner and crossed for Mason Mount to score with a first-time angled shot. Tuchel's men turned the game around when referee Chris Kavanagh, after a VAR check, awarded a penalty for a Rafinha challenge on Antonio Rudiger, and Jorginho fired high into the net. Chelsea failed to extend their advantage and Leeds drew level in the 83rd minute when 19-year-old Joe Gelhardt turned in Tyler Roberts' cross to score his first league goal. Just when the Blues looked like they had slipped up again, Rudiger went down in the box under a challenge by Mateusz Klich, and Jorginho rolled home the ball, choosing the other side of the goal to his first penalty strike. Egypt needed extra time to beat Jordan 3-1 on Saturday and secure their passage into the Final Four of the Arab Cup, where they'll face Tunisia. Meanwhile, Algeria squeezed past Morocco to secure their place in the semi-finals after serving up a dramatic FIFA Arab Cup quarter-final at Al Thumama Stadium, which saw Morocco eventually prevail 5-3 in a penalty shootout. The contest sprung into life in the second half in the battle between the two North African nations. Samuel Eto'o said his election as president of the Cameroon Football Federation, announced earlier in the day, was one of the proudest moments of his life. The four-time African Player of the Year gained 43 votes to beat acting president Seydou Mbobo Njoya, who collected 31 votes. After the result was announced at Hotel Mont-Efebe in Yaoundé, Eto'o's supporters exulted the vote was held because the Court of Arbitration for Sport in January annulled Njoya's victory in a 2018 election. Eto'o received the support of three other candidates who withdrew in days before the vote, as well as another indomitable Lions legend Roger Milla and former Barcelona teammate Lionel Messi. Eto'o's campaign focused on promoting women's football and eliminating corruption in the Cameroonian game. Eto'o, 40, made 118 appearances for Cameroon, scoring 56 times. He won the African Cup of Nations in 2000 and 2002, as well as Olympic gold in 2000, on each occasion in a penalty shootout where he scored in both the 2000 finals. He also won the Champions League with Barcelona and Inter Milan and had spells at Real Madrid and Chelsea. He will quickly face his first challenge when Cameroon hosts the African Cup of Nations in January, a tournament delayed a year by the COVID-19 pandemic. And that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, prices of goods expected to stabilize early next year. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Azlani Adani. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.